All right, guys, I'm back again. So my computer completely restarted on me. So I tripped out. So those that were participating before, I saw some comments from Travoy Green, I believe, Isaiah Reed. Um, I hope you guys can get to see this video after it has been uploaded. Thank you so much for commenting. I know Travoy left a comment in the chat that I saw when I got my computer back up and running. Thank you so much. I appreciate that you're learning. Means a lot to me. And also, you wanted to know what hydrogen electricity is. It's a bit like scientific. However, hydrogen fuel cells produce electricity by combining hydrogen and oxygen atoms. So, if you're really into chemistry, this is definitely something for you. It will really spark your interest. However, when the hydrogen reacts with the oxygen, there is this electrochemical cell similarly to that of a battery, which can produce electricity. So, there is a lot of chemistry to it, there's a lot of science to it, but they have found a way to make hydrogen form electricity. So, that's really interesting. Of course, it does have its drawbacks because too much hydrogen can be very explosive, um, literally speaking. So it does have its drawbacks, but it's really innovative, and I'm pretty sure with some work it will work out. Now, where I was in the previous video was an impact of climate change is the increase in the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events such as heat waves, drought, and floods, which increases losses to property, cause costly disruption to society, and reduce the affordability of insurance. And we were speaking on society because I thought that that was very important to touch on society. Many persons don't see how climate change affects society. It's more the environment, and it's more, sometimes plants and animals and the water supply. But what about society? What about our living conditions? What about social aspects of our lives? It is affected. Now, I believe I was reading that climate change could require adaptation on larger and faster scales than in the past, which presents challenges to human well being and the economy. The more extensively and the more rapidly the climate changes, the larger the potential effects on society. The extent to which climate change will affect different regions and sectors of society will depend not only on the sensitivity of those systems to climate change, but also their ability to adapt and cope with climate change. And this is similar to the effects of climate change on the environment or on health, which I spoke on before. It is your ability to cope that will be a real issue. Now, I like I like talking about the social aspects of stuff because it really gets persons thinking, right? Let's talk about heat-related deaths, right? So since 1979, more than 11,000 Americans were reported to have died as a direct result of heat-related illnesses such as heat stroke. The annual death rate is higher when accounting for deaths in which heat was reported as a contributing factor, including the interaction of heat and cardiovascular diseases. People aged 65 plus are a particular concern, a growing demographic group that is several times more likely to die from heat related cardiovascular diseases than the general population. Considerable year to year variability and certain limitations of the underlying data for this indicator makes it difficult to determine whether the United States has experienced long-term trends in the number of deaths classified as heat-related. But nevertheless, we see how this affects us. All right, so let's dive into it a little bit. You have someone who died from a heat or is suffering from a heat-related illness, right? Not dead as yet or anything like that. What does that affect in your household? One, you see you're focusing a lot here on medical fees, and it just grows as more as the illness intensifies. The fees grow, the stress on the family, either it's stress on the children or on the siblings, or on the community. These are social effects. And then now, what if you don't have the healthcare system that can help you treat your disease? What if your healthcare system is not adequate enough to do so? Now you're thinking about going somewhere else. You're transporting from somewhere that might be close to you. So now we see how healthcare facilities take precedence in having an effect where society is concerned. Now you see you have to move out of your region, out of where you're close to find proper healthcare. There's so much things just as a result of one thing, just as a result of climate change, right? So these are things that we should think about, not just the main highlighted themes, but what are the effects of the effects of the effects? You understand what I mean? So it affects people. What are the effects of the persons that it affects? Then what are the effects of those effects? And then what are the effects of those effects? And we see how it creates a chain of effects. Just that one thing. But let's look ahead, right? Looking ahead, elevated concentrations of carbon dioxide will persist in the atmosphere for hundreds or thousands of years. And that's the thing. We put it in the atmosphere for hundreds and thousands of years, and one day we decide to stop. Even if you decide to stop, it will remain in the atmosphere for years and years. However, the time in which it will leave, at least you know have this measurable time. And if we all stop today, by the next 100 years, it will end. But if we keep on doing, you realize how it becomes ongoing. There is no stop date per se, right? Now, the warmer it gets, the greater the risk for more severe changes to the climate and the Earth system, although it's difficult to predict the exact impacts of climate change. What's clear is that the climate we're accustomed to is no longer a reliable guide for what to expect in the future. Now, we can only state the impacts that we see. However, that doesn't mean just because these five impacts are what are noted in every scholarly research or every news headline, doesn't mean those are the only impacts. Think about it. When you had summer last year, it was really hot. You now have to buy air conditioning unit. You now are getting three fans in your household. You are now so hot you can't breathe. You don't feel comfortable doing work inside of your home anymore. You see how all of these stuff are related, and these are impacts that are not going to be spoken about or highlighted. You're not going to say because it's too hot, persons no longer can concentrate in their homes, persons no longer find it difficult to sleep at night. But these are effects. So just evaluate yourself, evaluate how mainstream things affect you due to climate change. And then you will know, then and only then will persons see how important it is to actually forget all of these stuff that is causing climate change and start to make a difference, start to invest in sustainable energy and technology, start to not pollute and care about their environment. Only then, when it all boils down to the small stuff that really affects people. Or some persons are speaking, increase our sea level rise, it's not affecting me. I'm here chilling. And if the sea level is rising, how is that affecting me? Or if it's getting hotter, how is that really affecting me? But then it boils down to, when times get hot, you realize you can't stay in your house anymore. You realize it's very uncomfortable to do certain things. Then persons think about, okay, maybe I should do something to help solve this because this is really affecting me. If you understand what I mean, sometimes persons find it hard to relate when it's on a broader scale, but when you boil that down to the individual, persons are more willing to change. So I charge you guys, boil it down to you. If you feel like you can't relate or you're not moved by mainstream events or mainstream effects, boil it down to you. If it's very cold where you live and you realize within the past 5 years it's getting extremely cold, like one winter it was like extremely cold, you couldn't do things that you used to do even in the previous winters, that's an effect of climate change. either going to be an extreme cold or extreme hot. Extreme cold or extreme hot. Boil it down to you, and then you'll be more moved to change. So also learning to adapt. Remember, I said that adapting and coping is very important, and it determines the effects. So adaptation helps us to prepare for some of the likely effects of climate change by reducing the impacts on the ecosystem and people's well-being. Our well-being matters, our ecosystem matters, the well-being of our plants and our animals matter. Take it into consideration. Examples of adaptation includes strengthening water conservation programs, upgrading stormwater systems, developing early warning systems for extreme heat events, and preparing for stronger storms through better emergency preparation and strategies. And these are more strategies for the bigger heads in terms of water conservation programs. But what you can do is conserve on water in your household. Do not pollute rivers and streams. Prepare yourself for any circumstance by stocking up on items that you know you'll need. Stuff like that you can do on an individual level to adapt and to prepare. Do it so it makes everything easier. It helps the movement change, and everything ties in together, goes together, promote sustainability. We love some persons love the fast, loud cars, the cars that emit methane. We love to use gas. How about maybe investing in an electric car? Maybe some of us can't afford it. Maybe invest in a hybrid car, or save towards investing in an electric and hybrid car, because you know that it will help the future of the environment. Small stuff like that really, really matters. Climate change is real. Climate change will continue to persist, but what we have to do is find ways to help mitigate the effects of climate change, and also prevent effects from happening, and we'll be well on our way. All right. Well, this is just the tying and the finishing up of my previous video that got cut off. So I'm just ensuring that I close up everything right here. I'm so sorry for the bad lighting. This is my source of light, and unfortunately, if the computer is not faced away from the window, I'm not going to have as bright lighting, and I don't have any space for my computer to be at the top right here. So lighting really is bad, and I understand that, but we'll work on it in future videos. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for commenting. It's your boy Shadows. You said hi. If you have any questions, let me know. You can always comment on the video. It will be posted on my channel. For those who are not a part of the live and you're watching the video on your own time, thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if you have any suggestions for any video ideas. We can also spend a day or a video dedicating to ways in which you can help combat climate change, but I'll also find a different topic relating to geography and the environment, and speak on that. Of course, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for being a part of the fam. I really appreciate you guys. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.